sharing this. So now we're sharing my screen with you again, and hopefully you can all see that this is what we're going to be talking about today, establishing a side suit by ruffing. And it's such an important part of declarer play, where you have, in addition to your trump suit, you have another suit, which sometimes you can establish a lot of tricks in that suit by ruffing one or more times. And what you need to think about is what distribution do you expect with the missing cards. You need to think about how many times you will need to ruff before you can set up your suit. And unless you're able to draw trumps first, you will sometimes need to think about whether to ruff high or ruff low. If you can draw trumps and still establish a suit by ruffing, then by all means do that. But sometimes you're not able to draw all the trumps and may need to ruff high in that case. The other thing that is often a consideration in these kinds of hands is, do you have enough entries? So we're going to look at some examples, and I want to look at a situation where perhaps you've got a suit like this. This could be, this is not your trump suit, so imagine you're playing this in, for example, a spade contract, but you've also got this very nice diamond suit. And what you need to think about, suppose you've got 2 diamonds in dummy and 6 in your hand, so you've got a 6-2 distribution. You need to think about how many diamonds the opponents have and how they might be distributed. So here I've got 8 diamonds, so the opponents have got 5, and the most common distribution is that they'll be distributed 3 and 2. And if they are distributed 3 and 2, can you see that if you can play this suit 3 times and ruff 1, you will be able to establish the suit? The way I like to do it is sort of imagine the 3 and 2 distribution against my own long suit there, and I can see that I've got just one loser there, but if I can ruff the third one, then all the rest will be winners. So if I have this distribution, I would aim at some point to ruff once, and if they divide 3-2, that will set up the suit, and I will make all those tricks except for the one that I ruffed. Any comments or questions? Do interrupt me on any of this. So that's a 6-2 distribution, and there's some notes on it. You need to think about the likely distribution, how many times you have to ruff, and if you haven't been able to draw trumps, you may need to ruff that one high if you can, so it won't be over-ruffed. How about this one? This is a 5-2 distribution, and here with 7 cards, you're hoping the most favorable distribution is that the missing cards divide 3 and 3. If they do divide 3 and 3, how many times will you have to ruff in order to set up that suit? Do unmute yourselves and tell me.
2.
Well, it's just 1, isn't it? If you get that 3-3 division, you can play the ace-king, ruff once, and then the rest of your diamonds will be good. That's not the most likely distribution, but if it is 3-3, you can. That's how it would go. But the 4-2 distribution is actually more likely, and I hope you can see that with the 4-2 distribution, in order to avoid any losers in this suit, you'll have to ruff twice. And what you would do is play the ace and the king, then ruff 1, ruff again, unless the suit divided 3-3, and then finally you make one trick at the end. So with a 5-2 distribution, the most likely division is 4-2, and you'll have to ruff twice. And if you haven't been able to draw trumps, then both ruffs may need to be high if you can afford it. Okay. Any comments or questions on that so far? So what we're doing is we're looking at different distributions and looking at distributions we have, look at how many cards the opponents have, and figure out situations where we can set up that suit by ruffing and work out how many times we need to ruff. Here's another one. Let's try a 5-1 distribution where you've got maybe the ace-king, and opposite that you've got a singleton. So here you've got 6 cards in the suit, and you need to cater for at least the most likely distribution, which is a 4-3 distribution. Now, if they are divided 4-3, I hope you can see that you have 2 losers there, but you hope to, if you can ruff twice, your 5th diamond should be a winner. Okay, so again, I'm just muting everyone. Again, with 2 losers there, your plan is to ruff twice. You need to ruff twice in order to set up the suit. And there are 2 ways you could play this. We'll look at this in a moment, but you could just start off with the ace and king, okay, and then ruff. If you do that, then, and you get a 4-3 distribution, your first ruff could be low, but your next ruff might have to be high unless you've been able to draw trumps. So it's actually better with this distribution, with a 5-1, to just cash the ace first. Then, if you then you will need to ruff twice in order to set up the suit, but both of those ruffs could be low. So if you've not been able to draw trumps, both ruffs could be low. And then an ace, 1 winner and 2 ruffs will set up the suit against a 4-3 distribution. And then you'd be able to draw trumps and take the rest of the tricks. So again, with this distribution, you'd be thinking about ruffing twice. Think about the likely distribution, the 4-3 distribution, and at least plan for that contingency, which will lead you to need to ruff twice here. The last distribution I want to look at is a 6-1 distribution, and again with 6-1 you've got 7 cards. You really want to cater to the most likely distribution. 3-3 is not that likely. If they divide 3-3, then I hope you can see that you could just take the ace-king, ruff once, and then the rest of the suit would be good. But if they don't divide 3-3, what if they divide 4-2? Then you have 2 losers. You have the ace-king, and to establish his suit, you'll need to ruff twice. And again, just like in the previous example, you can either cash the ace and king, and then when you leave the suit again, to set it up, you would need to ruff twice, and both of those ruffs might have to be high unless you've been able to draw trumps. Or you could just cash the ace first, then play a low diamond, which you can ruff low, and then when you get a chance, play another diamond, which you could ruff high. So basically, with this distribution, with a singleton opposite 2 honours like the ace-king, it's generally better if you just cash 1 honour and then ruff to set up the suit, rather than try to cash 2 honours and then start ruffing. You'll need to ruff with higher trumps if you've cashed the ace and the king first. So we'll look at some examples of this in a minute and see how it all falls into place. But I just want to sort of emphasize the main topic of this lesson is if you are setting up a suit with 5-1 or 6-1 distribution, it's generally better to just cash 1 honour, leave the other honour out, and just try to set up the suit before you, by ruffing however many times you need to ruff it, and then you'd be able to ruff with lower trump than you would if you cash the ace and king first. We'll look at some examples of this, and I hope it will make a bit more sense by looking at some real hand. So let's start off with this one here. And we've opened 3 hearts here, a preemptive bid. West overcalled 3 spades, and my partner bid 4 hearts. Okay, so that ended the auction, and West is on lead. West leads the king of spades, and we can see my partner's got a pretty nice hand for me, with very good trump support, and with all the aces. So before we make a plan here, before we decide what we're going to do, I've got one poll question for you this evening, which is looking at the 2 hands together, the north and the south hands. Can you tell me how many losers you have? Okay, so don't answer verbally. Count up your losers here. And here comes the question, how many losers does Declarer have on this hand? If you're playing on an iPad and it's obscured the screen, then close the poll and relaunch it once you've seen the screen. And I know some people struggle to count their losers, but maybe it gets easier with practice. We're up to 75% of you have voted. Any more? Okay, we'll end the poll there. We've got 89% of you have voted, and I'm going to share the results with you. And the majority of you have gone for 2 losers, 56%, and then 20% went for 3 losers, and 24% went for 4 losers. So let's have a look at that, see what's right. Well, the way we're going to count our losers is we're going to look at it from the point of view of the hand with the long trump suit, which is often Declarer's hand, but taking into account all the strength in dummy. And I can see I've got 2 potential spade losers, haven't I? In hearts, I don't expect to lose any tricks here because I've actually got 11 trump. I've got 7 in my hand, 4 in dummy, that's 11. So no matter how they're divided, I won't lose a trump trick. Okay, they'll either divide 2-0 or 1-1, but the queen will not make a trick. I don't have any diamond losers. I've got 2 singleton opposite the ace, and I've got no club losers either. I count this as no club losers because I've got the ace and the king, and after that I'm going to ruff. So on this hand, those of you who said 2 losers are correct. Those of you who said 3 or 4 are not right. You have 2 potential losers on this hand. Now, can anyone suggest a way to avoid any of those 2 losers, either of those 2 losers? Is there any prospect anywhere?
Discard spades.
Yeah, discard spades.
Discard spades on
Trumps.
Okay, you can discard spades on trumps, but that will not lead to any more tricks. So
on set up clubs, discard.
Yeah, I mean I don't
One
know if
on
you
a
can see
club.
if I play off all the hearts, for example. There's some background noise there. If you could stop that if there's someone talking in your room. If you play all the hearts, it won't really do you any good. You'll still be left with these losers here, won't you? And you know, if I play off all the hearts, and then I could indeed throw spades on those hearts at the end, but I'll still be left with these losers here. So Okay, can whoever's got some child in the room please ask them to leave, please? Or please stop, keep yourself muted. Please don't unmute yourself if you've got noise in your room, all right? So I don't know who that is, but someone keeps unmuting themselves and has got some background noise. So playing off all the hearts won't actually help you. You'll still have these losers. What you can do, though, is try and set up the club suit. And this is a 5-2 distribution in clubs, isn't it? So we have 7 clubs. If those clubs were divided evenly, they would divide 3-3. And if they were 3-3, we could actually ruff once, and that would give us 2 extra club tricks on which we could discard our spades. Even if they don't divide 3-3, even if they divide 4-2, we still might be able to make 1 more club trick. Now, on this hand, we've got lots of trumps, so we're going to start off by winning the first spade and then playing trumps. We're going to lead a round of trumps, and on this occasion everyone follows, so that's actually all the trumps gone. There were just 2 and they divided 1-1. So now I'm going to turn my attention to clubs, and I'm going to start by playing the king of clubs, winning in the shorthand, then crossing over to the ace. Okay, everyone's followed so far, so that's 8 clubs gone. I'm now going to lead a club, and I'm going to ruff. And actually what I'm hoping for is that West follows suit. Okay, if West had followed suit, then that would be all the clubs, and my clubs would now be good. In other words, if I count again how many clubs have gone, now that 8 have gone, 8 on the first 2 rounds, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's still 1 club out. But nonetheless, I can establish 1 club trick by ruffing again. So what I'm going to do is cross back to dummy with the ace of diamonds, play another club, which I'm going to ruff again, and then cross over to dummy again, maybe with the ace of hearts. And finally, I can cash the 7 of clubs, on which I can discard 1 spade. I can't discard the other spade, so all I'm going to do now at the end is maybe play off all the trumps, keep the lead in my hand at the end, and hope that they don't keep a spade, but they almost certainly will, and they'll make the last trick. But I can make 1 extra trick. In other words, I can make 12 tricks there by establishing the extra club there. Okay, so that was, you're always going to make your contract. You're always not going to lose more than 2 tricks, but you give yourself a chance to make extra tricks by setting up the clubs. Anyone have any comments or questions on that one? So that was a 5-2 distribution in the side suit, and you could see that by ruffing twice, we were able to set up 1 club. So we got 1 extra trick there by making the club trick. Let's have a look at another one. And this time we open a spade. There's a double here by West, which is for take up. My partner passes, and he bids 2 clubs. Well, my partner's probably pretty weak there, but my hand is very good shape. So I'm going to bid 2 hearts, show my second suit. West bids 3 clubs, and it goes pass, pass back to me. I don't really want to let them play in 3 clubs, so let's suppose I bid 3 hearts. And that's the right way to bid the suits, by bidding hearts, by bidding spades followed by hearts twice. I'm showing at least 5 spades and at least 5 hearts, and I'm giving my partner a choice, who puts me back into 3 spades. So he has preference for spades, or he has equal length. We're not quite sure what. And we see the opponent sees the ace of clubs, and we can see my partner is indeed very weak over there. that it's absolutely right to bid 3 spades rather than leave me in 3 hearts. So let's take a minute and try and work out where we're in danger of losing tricks here. We've obviously got a club to lose, and we've got 2 diamonds to lose. So that's 3 tricks there. Are we going to lose any spades? I hope not. The only other suit where we might lose tricks is in hearts. We've got a 5-2 distribution here, and if you think about it, with 7 hearts between the 2 hands, we should cater for the 3-3 or more likely the 4-2 distribution. If the hearts are divided 4-2, can you see that if I ruff twice, I can avoid any heart losers? If I can ruff 2 hearts successfully and they divide 4-2, then my last heart will be good. I can avoid any heart losers by ruffing twice. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's suppose they take the first ace and play another club, which we ruff. What I'm going to do on this hand, because I want to ruff 2 hearts, I'm not going to touch trumps yet. What I'm going to do is ruff 2 hearts, and I'm going to ruff high. I'm going to cater to a 4-2 division of the missing hearts, and that means I should think about ruffing high. So I'm going to cross my fingers, if you like, play the ace and the king, and if everyone follows, I'm now going to play a low heart, and I'm not going to risk ruffing with a 7. I'm going to ruff with the 10. That ruff is successful. And again, this is a good time to double check your counting. You remember you drew 2 rounds of hearts. That's 8, 9, 10, there, 11, 12. So there's 1 heart still out. So if I can ruff 1 more time, then my last heart will be good. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get back to my hand in order to lead another heart. How can I get back to my hand? Maybe with a club. This is not really to get extra tricks, it's just to get back to my hand so that I can lead a heart, and I ruff high with a jack so that it can't be overruffed. Now I've done that, I'm going to draw trumps. So I'll lead my trumps here, and I hope they all divide 3-2. If they do, my 8 of hearts is an extra trick now. I can take that 8 of hearts. 8 of hearts are no more trump, and I can make 10 tricks. I'm going to lose these last 2 tricks. The opponent's going to take these last 2, but I'll make 10 instead of, 10 tricks, which I wouldn't have made if I'd not ruffed those hearts. As you can see, I've got heart losers here, and if I don't ruff them, I will probably lose at least a couple of hearts. As it was, I avoided all the heart losers by ruffing twice. Anyone have any thoughts on that one? Anything they'd like to add? Here's a similar one. This time, again, the bidding is similar. Here again we bid spades followed by hearts twice, and the opponents here again lead the ace of clubs. Now, this time, if we look at our losers here, we can see, we hope we don't lose any spade losers. We've got 2 diamonds and a club, 3 losers there. And again, we hope that we don't lose any hearts here. This time our hearts are a bit stronger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But again, we want to cater to a 4-2 division of the missing hearts. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's what should be in the back of your mind as you play the hearts. And I hope you can see that if they are divided 4-2, you'll have to ruff once. Okay, someone's got a 4-card heart suit, so you'll need to ruff once in order to establish that suit. So that's what we're going to do. Now, actually, because on this hand, I suppose they trying to take 2 rounds of clubs, which we ruff. Because we only plan to ruff once, we might actually start by drawing trumps here. we can start with the ace and the king. There's still a trump out, but we don't want to draw the last trump because we want to keep that spade for roughing hearts. So we're going to cater for a 4-2 division by playing the ace, the king, and then playing a low heart, which we're going to rough, of course, high with the queen. And it can't be over after, of course. Now we've done that, if you're counting the hearts, you'll realize the hearts are now set up. All you now need to do is rough a club, maybe, to get back to your hand, draw that last trump, and your last 2 hearts will be good. Okay, again, you're going to lose those last 2 diamonds, but you'll make 10 tricks again on that one by roughing 1 heart. And you can see again the hearts divided 4-2 there. So you do need to rough once. Any comments or questions? Let's have a look at this one. Similar bidding again. This time we go 1 spade, and it went past 2 diamonds, 2 hearts. It's right to bid your spades first when you're 5-5. They bid 3 diamonds, you bid 3 hearts, and even though your partner hasn't bid anything, with this good distribution, you don't want to let them play at a low level, and your partner puts you back into 3 spades. So let's have a look at this one. And again, let's try and figure out where we're in danger of losing tricks. How many spade losers do you think you've got? Do unmute yourselves if you'd like to speak.
1.
1, I think. Yeah, we've got 8 trump, so hopefully we'll just lose 1 there. We're also going to lose a diamond, and we're going to lose a club. So we've got those 3 losers, a spade, a diamond, club. This hand, what we're going to try and do is to avoid those heart losers. Now, let's have a little think about it. We've got here the 5-1 distribution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So we've got 6. Someone's got at least a 4-card suit. So if we want to set up this heart suit against the 4-3 distribution, can you see we'll need to rough twice? We've got the ace king, and we'll need to rough twice. Okay, so what we're going to do as we're playing this, let's suppose they take their ace of diamonds, play another diamond, which we rough. Because we want to rough hearts here, we're not going to touch trump yet. We're going to play the ace of hearts, and then play a low heart, which we're going to rough with the 2. Okay, so we've drawn, that's the second round, and again we're trying to think of the 4-3 distribution. Okay, the 4-3 distribution of the missing hearts. That means that we've played 2 rounds and they both followed, so there are 3 outstanding. So the hearts are still not set up. What we're going to do is try to rough 1 more time to establish the heart. What we need to do is to get back to our hand. We can do that with the trump here, and then play a low heart, which we're going to rough low. And if the missing hearts divide 4-3, we'll get away with that. Okay, on that division we'll be able to rough that one with the 6, and now the hearts are established. Now what we want to do is draw trump. We'll play the ace of spades. We want to get back to our hand, maybe with the ace of clubs, and draw another trump. Now the trump's divided favourably there, so there's still a high 1 trump out, but we're not going to draw it. It's the jack, I think, but we're just going to go ahead and play our last 2 hearts. These are the remaining cards. So what I'm going to do is play the king of hearts. One of these is going to be roughed. We don't really care, but whatever they come back with, all they can do is cash 1 club, and we've got a trump at the end, and we can make 10 tricks on this hand. And this was the distribution, and this is how we played it to ruff twice. And I hope you can see we can't really afford to ruff high because we need the ace to draw the opponent's trumps. Now, many people, when they get a hand like this with the ace-king opposite a singleton, they don't play it as I've played it before. The way a lot of people try and play this hand, this is the exact same hand, is they try to cash the ace and king of hearts first. And that does not work so well. So let's see how it goes if you do that. We'll expose the four hands here. And this time we'll cash the ace of hearts, and then we'll try to cash the king of hearts, which you can do. But now when we play another heart, we're not going to be in such a good position for ruffing. We can ruff once. Okay, that was successful. Then we'll do what we did before, come back to our hand with a diamond ruff and lead another heart. But now I hope you can see that if we try to ruff with the 6 here, it will get over ruffed. Okay, so if you try to ruff this one, it will get over ruffed. Now maybe East might play a club, and although you can win that one, you now want to try and draw the opponent's trumps, so you can take the ace of spades. It's getting hard now to draw any more trumps. If you play a diamond here and ruff with a 9, well, West can actually ruff with the 10, over ruffing you again. And if they now switch to a club, they can take a club, and the last club, if you want to take it, you're going to have to ruff, but you've lost trump control here. And now when you play your last heart, West gets in, and you only make 8 tricks. So this was the same hand as I just played, but because I cashed the ace and king first and then started ruffing, it really worked out a lot worse. So with the singleton, it's much better to just cash the ace, then try to ruff enough times to establish a suit, and then draw trumps, or draw at least some of the high trumps there. Any comments or questions on that one? We've got just one more to have a look at, and I'm actually going to start this one with a bidding problem for you, which is you've got the north hand here, south opens a diamond. Anyone like to tell me what they think the north hand should bid here? I think you've got something like 20 points. Anyone like to suggest a bid there?
2 hearts.
2 hearts is possible. Any other thoughts?
Why not go for 4 hearts?
4 hearts. Well, that's. I mean, if you want to, if you think you want to be in, if you bid 4 hearts, your partner will presumably pass that, won't they?
What about 1 heart?
1 heart, yeah. I like 1 heart here. I mean, this hand does qualify for 2 hearts, which should show 16 points or more and a good 5-card heart suit. But I'm not really certain that I want to play it in hearts. I mean, I do have good hearts, but why not just bid 1 heart and see what your partner rebids? The 1 heart bid is absolutely forcing. There's no need to bid more. And if I'd only had a 1-suited hand with hearts, then that might be a good choice. But I prefer 1 heart here, and maybe we'll end up playing in hearts, or maybe we'll end up in spades, or even conceivably no trump. But unless you're certain you really want to play it in hearts, which I'm not here, I think I'll just bid 1 heart. Anyway, you do bid 1 heart, and the auction continues that your partner now rebids a spade, and now you're pretty excited about your hand. You bid 4 no trump, and your partner responds 5 hearts, which shows 2 aces. So you've got all the missing aces there. Now, I'm definitely going to bid a small slam here. I'm not sure about bidding a grand slam. Some of you may be tempted to bid 7 spades here, but although I can tell I don't have any diamond clubs or spade losers, I may have a heart loser. I don't really know exactly what my partner's got. So I think I'm just going to settle for 6 spades here. And your partner ends up being declarer, and they lead a club. All right? Do interrupt me if you have any other thoughts on it. So let's have a look at this from your partner's point of view. This was your partner's hand. They actually had that 4-4-4-1 distribution, and they opened the suit below the singleton, 1 diamond, and they find themselves playing in 6 spades. Now, what's your plan on this hand? When you have a hand like this, where you've got really dummy being a much stronger hand than your hand is, it's often a good idea to look at it from your partner's point of view. In other words, look at this hand from North's point of view. And I hope you can see that, looking at it from North's point of view, we can see we're not going to lose any spades, we're not going to lose any diamonds, and we're not going to lose any clubs. The only suit where we might lose tricks is in hearts. Okay? And you can see you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hearts with a singleton. So you've got 6-1 distribution. So how many hearts do the opponents have?
6.
They've got 6. And the most likely division is a 4-2 division. And if they are divided 4-2, can you see that you can set up this heart suit by ruffing twice? Okay, someone's got 4 hearts, then we'll need to ruff twice. So that's the division we're going to cater for. We're going to cater for a 4-2 distribution. So let's win the first trick, and then we'll play the ace of hearts. Okay, remember we're thinking about the 4-2 distribution. And then the right thing to do next is to play a low heart. We'll see what happens in a moment if you play the king, but the right suit to play is the 4 there. And catering to a 4-2 distribution, we're going to ruff that one low. Okay, now that's great news. Actually, if you count the hearts, you'll see that 4 went on the first round, 3 have gone now at 7, and we've got 8, 9, 10, 11 left. So there are 2 hearts still outstanding. And what we're going to do is ruff 1 more time, and that will set up the heart. So we'll get back to our hand. We can actually get back with the trump here. And we're going to now play another heart. And of course, we're not going to risk ruffing low. This is the last ruff we need. We're going to ruff with the ace. Okay, and once that's done, now all we need to do is to finish drawing trumps. We actually get a bad trump break on this hand, but we can still draw all the opponent's trumps, and now our hearts are good. We'll play the king, we've got hearts, and we've got 2 tricks at the end. So we'll make 13 tricks on this hand by establishing the hearts. If you made the mistake of trying to cash the ace and king first, which a lot of people do, it doesn't work so well. Let's see what happens if we play this the same way, but we try to cash the ace and the king first. Well, now when we play another heart to ruff, you can see that if we ruff low, we're going to be over ruffed, and we're not going to make 13 tricks anymore. We could ruff high, but we're now not going to be able to ruff the remaining hearts either. We can start drawing trumps. We might draw a couple of rounds, but at some point we've got a heart loser, and we cannot get rid of it. We can try to ruff, but it will be over ruffed. Whatever happens now, though, I can draw the remaining trumps, and I'll make my 12 tricks, but I won't make the 13 that I made by playing the hearts correctly. So just try and watch out for that. I see so many people cashing the ace king and then starting to ruff. That can be right in some situations, but when you are hoping to set up the suit, it's much better to cash as few tricks as possible. Then you'll be able to ruff with the lower cards with the same distribution. Anyone have any questions? Anyone else
Tony,
have a?
yeah, does it help? Can you can discard a heart on one of the diamonds, on the king of diamonds?
I could. I didn't make use of that king of diamonds, but it doesn't really help to do that, because what I want to do is try not to have any heart losers. So I think I still need to ruff twice, if you see what I mean, to set up the hearts. And ruffing and discarding a heart on the diamond doesn't really help me. If you can see that or not. But, yeah, it is a thought. It's a bit of a waste, that king of diamonds. I wasn't able to do anything with it, anything useful with it. Any other questions?
It sounds good when you are telling, but it is quite difficult to understand properly.
Well, I think the thing to do is to look out for these, for a long suit in addition to your trump suit. And very often you'll make more tricks if you can establish that suit than by any other means. I mean, certainly, if you just try to cross ruff on this hand, you won't make as many tricks as you will by establishing this suit by ruffing one or more times. So that's really something to try and learn about, trying to do that. Noticing it.
Is it going to come in our play today?
It may well do.